Hello. Yeah, I want to present a short presentation on communication. Communication is one of those things that's most important for all of us to learn how to engage each other with. And when I say communication, I'm talking about ways to speak, to present ourselves, to help others understand where we're coming from, what we really mean, and for the perceptions to be in a more balanced kind of way. Okay, so that's one way to explain it. Now, one of the key things right off the bat that I'm going to say, because this is to me the most important thing of any form of appropriate or good communication between people or in groups, is that you've got to learn how to trust something, and this gets into the ethereal kinds of stuff that I strongly believe in. You've got to learn how to trust something inside of yourself. And that only comes by practicing, if you want to use that word, or more appropriately, living a life of what I call spacious awareness. And I say this over and over again, no matter what else I'm trying to teach or to show. So, and in that, again, the spacious awareness is bringing yourself to this place where you are aware of what's going on. You're aware, as best you can be anyway, of the things that you're saying, of how you're feeling, and not holding back. And that's a key part also. Not holding back in trying to present yourself as being better, but you want to be, and these are a couple of really, really important words that I'll put out with this. In any kind of communication, it's really, really essential to learn how to speak, to present yourself to others, and even yourself, in a more genuine way, being as vulnerable as you possibly can and understanding that, um, um, working with or operating within your own integrity. And the key part is taking a risk and moving forward with whatever words you want to say, if you're going to be a public speaker or if you're going to just communicate something to somebody that you really need to show them something, or if you have an argument with your spouse or there's some disagreement with another person or group, that sort of thing. You want to be able to present yourself within that format of vulnerability, which means you're not going to beat anybody over the head. And also, though, when I say vulnerability, you don't want it to be a thing where you're just cowering like, yes, master, anything you say, you're right, I'm wrong. No, you want to be genuine, that other word that I'll say often, genuine, honest, living within your integrity of what you believe to be true. And even when you have doubts, this is where the risk-taking part comes in. You've got to take those steps toward a goal, something that you want, something that you want to present, and then let it out. Now, one of the problems that I see with people who are communicating or wanting to communicate in life and in general, and you see it a lot in social media kind of contexts, where people will present the good sides of everything, and there will be all of these weird advertisements about how wonderful life is and about what you need to do. And it gets into that kind of thing where people are just kind of, walking around and say, okay, as long as I have my kale and I'm doing my yoga, then I'm going to be okay. And you miss out on something that way in the perceptualness, the perceptual ability of being able to see things clearer, because it's important to be more aware of what's really going on, not only inside yourself, but around the world too, in order to effectively communicate with others and even with yourself, because this is the part of you that's always going to be with you. So there's practices that you can do. Practices are important. And we'll get into some of the practices and effective communication. But the most important piece, again, is this nature of learning to attach inside you to get to this place, if, that I call spacious awareness. You can call it whatever you want. But it is this dramatic way of being where you know or you feel very strongly. There could be doubts. There's always going to be some kind of doubts in life. But where there's a confidence that this is right, what I'm feeling, what I'm perceiving about being in this place. And I use my hands a lot to demonstrate, where that is. Spacious awareness, to me, I bring it to my heart area and all that. But there's no real area. It's just something we use for our conscious recognition, and that's fine. So again, and even in this kind of communication, it's very important that you become aware of what's going on. So let's just say you're at a meeting, or something. You're looking at different people. You're nervous. I got to make sure I got all my, I's dotted and my T's crossed. I know exactly what I'm going to present and everything like that. And you're very nervous. Is that a problem? No. The problem is when you try to hide what's really going on inside of you. Now, in order to give you, but of course, you don't want to get out there and go, blah, 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 I'm so scared, I don't know what to say, folks. You want to follow through, but you want to follow through in a more genuine way. So you prepare, and that's really important. You practice, if you want, your speech or whatever you want to do. But then you've got to kind of like release it. And again, get back to that place that's inside of you. Tap onto that. It's, if you want to call it your confidence, your self-awareness, whatever you want to call it. And then take that risk and just go for it. Go for it in the moment. So these are key words again, but they're so applicable to all of this. Go for it in the moment. Then you've got to really rely on something else, not just your memory of each thing that you said. That's where you've got to trust that whatever you wanted to present, much of that's going to come out in the way that you want it to. And I believe this very strongly, is that it's going to come out better by you not trying to follow each and every word, memorizing every word. I want to say this and that, and I want to present this to you because I feel that if we do this certain kind of thing, everything will work out better in the end. Therefore, I hope that you agree with what I say. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I love you all. No, you could say the same thing with more genuineness, like, here we are together. I want to present something to you that I truly feel in my heart will benefit all of us in some way, shape, or form. I hope that this will be clear to you. If there are any questions at the end, we'll have a time where you can ask questions, but I want to present this in a way that makes sense, and then you can see how it can benefit all of us. So here we go. Even that just came, I didn't know what I was going to say. It just seemed more natural if it were a presentation to people of some sort. So that's a generalized way of saying. Again, it's important to have your specific thing that you want to discuss or talk about, whatever that topic may be. That's if you're going in a group and you need to share something with workers or co-workers or just a group of people giving a presentation. Now, the other aspect is when we're communicating with someone personally, having an interpersonal kind of conversation. Relationships. This is where you'll see this quite a bit. Because there's always going to be some kind of issue in a relationship. If there's a relationship out there where you meet that person and everything was perfect, and 6 months later it's more perfect, and then another year later it's even better and more, and there's never been any arguments or whatever, I want that pill. Please show me what you did. But I won't believe it anyway. I'll have a hard time believing it. The most important thing, again, in communication with someone, if you have an issue, this is what we're going to talk about, when the issues arise, it's important to address that as soon as possible. And it's important to, again, apply it as best you can from this place that you are developing, because this is what we all need to do. This is primary, to develop this inner ness. This is what people might call a conscious awareness. I call it spacious awareness. People might call it a spirituality, God. I don't care what you call it. Self-actualization in the psychological kind of terms. Whatever you want to call it, it's important to see how it's necessary to see how real and important it is to be here and to learn to thrive in this and to learn to develop this more than anything else. Everything else, in my opinion, is insignificant in comparison to living this life. All the other stuff, I've said this in the past, it's important to learn how to bring all of it together, your good, bad, and your ugly. But the more you do it in this place with whatever you're going through, I'm going through a little anxiety because I've been dealing with this and dealing with that, and I realize it. And it may even come across in some of my presentations. I don't care. What's important is that I take this risk and continue to operate from this place more than anything else. Now, I got to be aware, it's not like I'm just throwing things out arbitrarily. There's our humanness and our beingness. And when we learn to live this way, focusing more on this, because we've all been too conditioned to the human part anyway. So this is the part that needs to be more enlivened, to come alive more so, and then incorporate both of them as best you can. Is it going to be perfect? We don't know. But it's important then again to take that risk from this place, from you learning to become more of a balanced human being, because we're so imbalanced. We're too human and less being. We've got to learn how to be more balanced. These are ways to do it. Doing the practices, even if you're not sure, that's okay too. So on a practical level again, communication, the first thing is to address something sooner than later. And it's important not to lash out immediately. Because some person may say, well, they did that. You did that again. You blah, 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 blah. What do you mean? I didn't. You blah, 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 blah. No, blah, blah, blah. Or even more subtly, no, that's not what I said. What I said was this. But you always say it like that. Look, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm doing this. Why are you accusing me? I'm not accusing you. You're getting angry with me again. You hate me. But it can go on like that. And again, the essence of that, I believe, again, even is still more on the unconscious level of how we've been conditioned, and we bring these things into our lives, especially with our significant others. It becomes almost like we're a mirror to that person, and we want that person to love us so much, and we want to give so much more to them, but there's also the deeper fear of being rejected or hurt or having to please and all those sort of things. So again, breaking through that is living you more than anything else. But again, on a practical level, you have to do both. You can't wait. I'm better now. I'm perfect. So now I can do this. No. Right now, wherever you are, practice this as much as you can, but then you have to take risks. The simple and very basic, but the simple, best kind of way I think to do that, again, catch it more immediately, do not react. And tell the person how you feel. If you feel you've been hurt, I feel. That's just a key word you can say over and over again. You can even write that down. I feel, I feel, I feel. Could be like, wait, if it's too much tension, you just wait for a while. I need to tell you how I feel. If the person says, I don't want to hear how you feel, then you back away, and then you have to contemplate that one, because it's really important that the other is open to hearing how you feel. If it's too stressful at that point, wait till things calm down, come back. I would like to speak about how I feel. And that person needs to, at some time or another, respond to that, respect that even. You can even ask, can I please tell you how I feel? Now, it doesn't have to be like, please let me tell you how I feel. Maybe that might work for some, but it's more of wherever you are with your integrity, that's where you need to come from you. This is how I feel. I feel this. Gives us kind of an example, I guess. You might be in a relationship where you got into an argument and the person misunderstood what you meant or what you said, or there's just a conflict, and you look. I feel that we're not communicating well, and the other person would go, well, what do you mean by that? We're communicating fine. I don't want to deal with this. Blah blah blah. Then the next step, you've done. I feel. I feel. The person's responded. The next step is to validate what that person said. I feel this. Oh, I'm sorry. There's three steps basically. I feel this. I feel this. What do you think? The person might just say something right away, which happens a lot without you even asking them. Or sometimes they'll go, oh, I don't want to talk about this. Well, what do you think? Why don't you want to talk about this? Because it gets into this and we just blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, and then the third part is validating what that person says. So you're saying that you feel by me sharing what I'm feeling, we're going to get into something. Well, that's the way it's been, and that's what. But I'm just telling you how I feel right now. Okay, I feel that we need to learn to communicate better. What do you think? I don't know. Okay, I hear you. What you're saying is that you don't know. And then, see, now that's the essence of it. And then it comes to I want to say the word compromise necessarily, but a joining of trying to come up with a resolve or a better resolution. Choices that you make to try to make that situation better. But it's got to break down to those basics of communication first to get something going. Please get that. It's so, so important. And as a matter of fact, over a period of time, it becomes so naturalistic. You can write this down. You can say it as a mantra, whatever. It could be like, look, I just need to tell you how I feel. I don't want to get into this, blah, 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 whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you don't want to get into this. Is that what you're saying? That's what I just said. Okay, I hear you saying you don't want to get into it, but I feel we need to. Well, I feel we don't. Okay, then I feel we're at odds. Well, you're damn right we're at odds. Now, these are extremes, but, it could happen that way. Hopefully, there's a break. And even in that, there can be a breakthrough. Okay, so you feel that we're at odds. I really don't. And what it does a couple of things. It puts a safety gap between that just lashing out. You might get to a place where it's like, yeah, I don't know if any of you remember. I don't even know if they do it in comics anymore, but there used to be this little bubble where a person's really thinking something. They may say something different, but they're thinking something just the opposite. Like, well, you crazy son of a whatever. Look, then you're saying something different. It's important to not lash out. It's important to try your best to be genuine, to be as vulnerable as possible, to be aware of what you're going to say as best you can in the midst of all the confusion, and to take a risk. To take that risk. This is what I feel. It may come out a little bit aggressive. Look, this is what I feel. And then you wait for that response. Okay, so what? The person might say, well, I feel we need to talk. Keep using that word. I was going to say, I see. I feel we need to. I feel we need to. I believe we need to. I want you to stick with feelings, though, more than anything, because that's the thing that really incorporates better communication, I feel. When we start getting, I think this, I think that, I think you did this, I think you did this. And that's the key part that it does. That safety gap, it pulls it back to you. You're not pointing the finger at the other person. I feel you are I feel you did this. I feel you're no good. It's important to say, I feel hurt, or I feel angry even, because of what you said. And the more you get into that pattern, you're going to see that deeper inside, it's not even the anger so much or the confusion, but it is the hurt. That's the biggest thing for all of us, especially in interpersonal relationships. And as you learn to communicate even more this way, taking these risks, you'll see that happening more so. And then eventually what needs to happen is that the other needs to respond to you better. And they will respond to you better, especially if you can do this without reacting. Now, here's the other piece to that, because all of us are human and we're going to blow it. So when you do blow it, you got to back off, apologize if you can. Look, we'll talk later. If it gets too stressful where there's something going to happen, you need to walk away. I'll talk later. If they're following you, blah, 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 you need to say, I can't do this right now. And they have to respect that. And then when you're ready, I'll be back in a half hour. Try to be as specific as possible, then come back and then start again. Why did you do it? You just ran out. Because I didn't want it to become something I feel it would have become something. These kind of things will become more naturalistic to you in what you need to say, because you're going to keep going, I feel that we're doing something wrong here. I just feel this. Now, it can't get to the point like the other person, because the other person can do things that can be a catalyst that can cause problems. So I'm not going to say that it's all me and no. There's two people here, and you got to learn how to tango well. That's the resolve part. But I feel that you are angry with me. I feel that if I say something, you're going to get angry. I feel that every time I try to say something to you, you don't listen. I feel that you are doing this. I feel this. What do you think? See, second part, I feel, I feel. What do you think? I'm not doing any of that, or I don't see it. But I know I'm feeling this. You could say other things too. I'm not sure if this is true, but this is just what I feel. And the other person may not have a recognition of it. And that can be very, very frustrating. If a person continues to not have a recognition that they are a catalyst to causing pain in your relationship, and they don't grow from it, then that's a whole nother story. The best thing that's going to help is this kind of communication as best you can do it. If that person never can do that, that's a whole nother story. And then you have to look at how far you need to separate yourself from that if this person isn't willing to change. But it is very important to take every step possible to make something positive occur in a relationship. Too many of us, we get into a relationship and it just boils up and boils and boils and boils. Year 2, 3, we get divorced. Close to a majority of people who are either married or in very committed relationships do not want to be in that relationship. A majority. That's a fact. And that's a shame. And the key part of it is because of the lack of this kind of open communication and growing into it. So start this. Another word with the vulnerability, as best you can, to be as kind. You may at first be, oh, I feel just angry. I just feel hurt. The more you practice it, you can practice more being kind. But the more important part is to be as genuine as you can without lashing out. You may have to bite your tongue at times. That bubble may be going, you look, I'm feeling, that sort of thing, okay? And it will develop. Now, I've seen this help people that I'm working with. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm seeing it more and more because I've been practicing, this, not just with the people that I want to help and serve, but also within my own self. And my significant other, my partner, Pam, is telling me that it's like a miraculous changes in the way that we communicate. And I mean, she's saying, and she's not just someone who would just say something, pie in the sky for any reason. So there's something that is really effective or that's going on that's really positive. Please, it's not only for the small groups or even just in interpersonal communications. It's for the whole world. Our politicians, our people who are in charge of businesses, the millionaires, billionaires, those who can communicate on a larger scale, need to also learn to live this life first and foremost. and then practice this in giving out to others. Because the key essence of it is not so much that you want to get something just for yourself. You want to make something happen for yourself and that group of people that you may be communicating with. You want to do something for yourself and that significant other, so for both of you to join together better. You want to do this. We want to do this in communicating with the world in order to help ourselves in this whole thing and to help the world, decreasing unnecessary death, violence, and all that kind of thing. That's how real this is. And if we can get together and collectively learn how to live this way and communicate better this way, again, focusing more on this thing that's inside of all of us on a quantum level, which I think is more important. If you just have the practical aspects and you're not getting the balance of this, it ain't going to work, I don't think. But when you can bring both of this together, if you want to call it the etherealness, the energy, the conscious energy, and the practical aspect of being human, it will work. And this is what we must do if we want to see true change on this planet. We must do this. Thank you.